Good morning, story trading VIPs. Happy Monday. Hope everyone had a relaxing weekend. Look at that chart, all green. So, wow, let's jump into it and see what's causing this. First thing that jumps out to me is Bitcoin up 5%, and ARKK up 2.5%. And when you actually go in and look at the specific charts, you're going to notice that all of this represents key breakouts above 20 or 50 DMA moving averages. You can see here the Nasdaq above the 50 DMA this morning. You can see. Let's go through all of them, see where everything else. I don't know the Nasdaq is, and then I'll show you a bunch of others. Apple's actually a bullish cross right now on Apple 2050 heading possibly to the 200 DMA. So things are looking pretty good right now this morning. SPY getting close to the 50 DMA. We have RK that's looked good for a long time. Honestly, been above the 20 and 50 DMA for a long time. Continuing that. So let's look at the individual charts. But before we do that, listen, we have earnings this week accelerating. We have Netflix and Tesla coming later this week. Netflix and Tesla, and then I believe we have all the big caps, Apple, etc. next week. So there's definitely some risk here. I advised last Friday maybe sometime to take some risk off the table. I think if you haven't done that, maybe this week a time to do that. I've been doing it mostly through selling covered calls. So even though this looks great and it looks exciting and everything like that, this is exactly the time where you get those near-term tops and you get a breakdown. But technically speaking, it looks awesome, right? It looks like, wow, look, when was the last time the Nasdaq broke the 50 DMA? It's been a long time. Wow, right here. It was bear market rally number 1, March 21st was the last time it broke the 50 DMA. It went on to go to the 200 DMA. So, yeah, look, it hasn't done it at all. So, and as we go through these individual charts, you're going to see there's a lot of breakout levels. So I have a bunch of charts I want to look at here. First of all, Bitcoin as well. Look at this. A Bitcoin, at least BITO. What happened to my? I don't know why it's not showing here. BITO. When I looked at it earlier, that also broke a 20 DMA. So I don't know why it's not showing right now. But I know. Look, I don't know why it does this, but check it out. If I remove the 200 DMA over here on BITO, then it will magically show my lines again. There they are. I don't know what's going on, but BITO breaking up above the 20 DMA right here this morning. So, all right, let's go and catch up. So Google stock split this morning. Okay, they adjusted the chart finally. So Google has a stock split and nothing. So it's just chop right here. I don't see anything so compelling with the chart. And then we got Netflix and Tesla earnings. I have no opinion on them. I don't follow them closely, but the market will be following them, right? And if there's signs or commentary about recession, things like that, margin compression, decreased demand, stuff like that, obviously it's going to impact the market negatively and vice versa. So we got to pay attention to Netflix and Tesla earnings coming later this week. Air earnings is a story trading VIP pick. I don't know if it is now. Did we ever have I have to go back and check our presentations if we represented this at a low or something like that. I'm not sure we did. But in any case, AEHR, I got it. I have the stock. I sold some covered calls on it. No, I didn't. I looked into it. I didn't because I don't have a huge position. So they have earnings on Tuesday. It actually showed up on a earnings calendar, which was wow. It was the Benzinga earnings calendar. And to see what's a 220 million market cap now, right? So this is on the eyeballs of people now after that run to $25. So people are watching this week. Usually, these micro cap stocks we follow don't show up on the earnings calendars going around on Twitter, but Air did show up. So people are watching Air. We got earnings on Tuesday. CLFD, we have a presentation on tonight. Is our VIP weekly meetup. We're doing it Monday night this week, tonight, 9 p.m. Chris Tarbert has done an excellent job for us getting us into the stock at lower levels before it took off. Earnings are soon. Now, July 28th, I couldn't find a press release about that. I know last quarter was exactly 3 months ago on April 28th. However, my app here is saying July 20th. So it's either this week or next week. In any case, it's coming up. So we're going to be having our weekly meetup on it tonight to discuss earnings expectations and how to play this as it approaches its 52-week high here. And that's probably an all-time high as well on CLFD. Another chart that caught my eye, ZIM. ZIM. If you zoom in over here, you'll see it is gapping above the 20 DMA. And ZIM has been killed, right? This is a very profitable shipping company, very recession at least sentiment is very related to recession. So you can see that's why this stock has been off a cliff. This was a big dividend that gave between 90 and I think it's a $17 dividend. But this whole action here definitely related to fears about recession. The PE is probably like a 1 or something here. PE ratio 0.96. Like, have you ever even heard of that? But in any case, this is an example. I like this one because this is one that got beat up because of recession fears, and now it's gapping above the 20 DMA. So first of all, this may be an interesting stock to pick up. Second of all, it could be a sign of overall sentiment and could explain some of the price action we're seeing with some other stocks here turning around. NVIDIA, we got on the screen here because there was some news over the weekend about Nancy Pelosi's husband buying, I think, $5 million worth of NVIDIA ahead of some vote that's coming Tuesday. Let's see if I have the article here. July 18th. There we go. Nancy Pelosi's NVIDIA trade under scrutiny. Senate is set to vote on a major chip industry subsidy. So I imagine this would help a lot of chip companies, but this is a $200 billion grant that they're going to be voting on. The June bill envisions $52 billion subsidy for chip companies, a $200 billion grant to increase U.S. competitiveness. That's a lot of money. What is that? A combination of $250 billion coming into the sector. So I'm not sure exactly what's going on there. There's a vote on Tuesday. Then Mr. Pelosi got in here and NVIDIA, I guess, last week. So that's probably going to give a tailwind to all the chip stocks. Let's quickly look at the chip stocks here. Let's go to semiconductors. And let's see what's doing the best here. Oh, Rockley. Oh, old Rockley. We got to look into that. That was that spec. But anyway, we'll be monitoring this. Last time there was some good news in chips, like TSM, believe it was. They raised guidance last week, and in the early morning, TSM was the only thing that was up. Everything else was red. By the end of the day, everything was green in the chip sector. So I don't know if this is something that can lift all boats. It probably maybe could, I think. That's some big news, the subsidy stuff going on. But I'm interested. I own a couple of these names. Where is that new one that we have here? Plab. Yeah. Plab and Air are my two semis. So these could be doing well today. Plab's already up 1%. Even the bid is as well. Back to my Russia. How do we get to Russia? All right. This started with Russia war, this new list, and it keeps on expanding. So what else we got? VTSI had a contract this morning, $700,000. This is a service agreement. I guess it's a recurring. Let me check. I've been doing some conversations with people here in the VT with Kevin in our VTSI research room. Okay, so he thinks the way he's reading it is, although it's up for interpretation at this point, this 700K, it runs through 4 years, so it's 140,000 a year service contract. That's how I guess you can read it. Is it annual? Is it through the life of the contract? But I guess we're going to rely on what Kevin says here, since he is the expert on VTSI and he's telling us. So it doesn't look like a huge deal. It's for existing simulators. It seems like 59 virtuous simulators, but it's nice to see recurring revenue. So that's VTSI, and this did not break out like I wanted it to. So we'll see what happens. I still own a little bit of an overweight position, some trading shares. The calls I sold out worked well. Those we were following us. I saw $5 calls for 30 cents, which expired last week. And I believe I sold them again, some of them for August at 35 cents, 30 or 35 cents. I don't remember. I have to check. So that's the story with VTSI. SIGA breaking out to new highs this morning. I believe this is a high. It had a technical breakout right at the close at $15 last week. Monkeypox all over the news lately. It seems to be getting worse. This seems to be the real deal. So congrats to people in our community who have been trading this, making money on it. I know Vince has been on top of this, so good for you, Vince. I think RAL's been making money on SIGA, so congrats on that, guys. I missed the boat on this probably because I just don't want it to be true. I don't want it to be true, so I cannot get into SIGA for sentimental reasons. All right. Other thing, ESLT, Elbit Systems. I've been watching this every day. Still haven't gotten in, but every day they get new contracts. This time, $33 million contracts to supply enhanced flight vision systems for Boeing. I mean, these customers and these contracts, they seem really legit, and they're coming in almost every single day. And this does look like a stock I should let's go and do not disturb here. A stock I should consider owning for that aerospace exposure. ESLT, Northrop Grumman, another one crowdsourced in our community, which looks possibly better than Lockheed Martin even. So a couple names we're looking at there. CTLP Cantaloupe, presented by Mark Gomes last week. I think the presentation is now on YouTube. So if you missed that, yes, I think we published it Friday. You can go to youtube.com/storytrading and check out the presentation and the Q&A we did with Mark Gomes on CTLP. Interesting business. Vending machines. Never knew it could be an exciting business, but it does seem like they're doing some pretty cool things with connecting these vending machines to the internet. The possibilities are endless. Man, I wish I was behind that screen looking at the data coming in real time from vending machines. That's exciting. I don't have a position yet. I probably should. But anyway, that's the story with CTLP. Let's look at the chart, by the way. Looks pretty good, but doesn't really look different than many other charts. I think it's just following the market at this point with the risk assets going up, even non-risk assets. I mean, this is a little safer, I guess, than the risk assets, but this is pretty much the same chart as everything else. GOEV, we're monitoring this. This is the EV, which had the Walmart news and then the U.S. Army news. Pulling back here, it looked like a cup and handle was forming. We're looking for a break of 5 to break that cup and handle. That's the cup over here to the left and the handle over here. Handle's lasting a little bit longer than we'd like, and remains to be seen if this is going to break out above 5. I'm not sure that it will. Where's support on that? Let's take a look what we think on that one. So that's a tough one. I don't know. We'll have to. Rex is in this. I've been working with Rex on this one, so we'll see what Rex thinks. But he was not happy with how it closed on Friday. I'll tell you that much. I don't know if it's still in or not. So anyway, we'll talk about GOEV, GOEV, Celsius. This has been fueled by buyout rumors, by the way. This whole big candle right here, starting June 23rd, or was it? I'm sorry, July 5th. One of these big moves has been sparked by buyout rumors. I think it's a second one. It's in there in the news feed somewhere. So this keeps going. Pepsi, Coke, etc. One of those companies could be buying them out at some point. So I was losing this to covered calls on Friday. I actually bought back the calls at a loss just so I can sell next month's calls. These premiums are great. So I think that was a good decision for me rather than just letting it disappear and out of my portfolio. So took a loss on those covered calls and sold next month's $80 calls for like $10. So I'll take that. All right. What else we got here? DRIO, no news yet. Sad. I don't know. Don't know what's going on. I really thought they were going to be on time with June 30th with an announcement in July. So that has not happened yet with the national insurer. So it's just wait and see mode there. Nothing to talk about until that happens, or if it doesn't over time, the price may just slide down over time if people think it's late and it's not happening. So that's about all we have time for. Kodak had that pop and then chop on the EV news. Didn't really stick so much. And INMB has a nice chart over here. Although, I lost my 200 DMA. Let's put it at 200 because it found resistance at the 200 DMA. So let's look at INMB. And there we go. Right at the 200 DMA. Today is 1050. So this could be very interesting. If it closes above 1050, you could see INMB tends to move fast on its breakout. if it closes above 1050. And then KMPH is another one. I think Chris likes this, brought this to our attention. These biotechs are doing pretty well. This has a pretty low EV, KMPH. I did pick some up here a little above 5. So that's story with KMPH. I sold covered calls again on Oxy. I've been doing this almost weekly, $60 covered calls. So maybe I'll lose the stock this week. That's fine. I got like $4 or $5 in calls on this every week, selling this for about a month. And I guess that's all we have time for. Let's quickly look at the news and see if we missed anything in the last 15 minutes over here. All right, I don't see anything pressing. Safe Food had some news this morning, but man, did he see the size of this shelf they put out? On Safe Food is a $10 million market cap, and they did a $100 million shelf on Friday. I'm surprised the stock did not go down on that news. So that is interesting. How do you even read this chart? Wednesday, Monday, what is going on here? What kind of chart is that? All right, now it looks a little bit better over here. So little volume, that chart looks unfamiliar. But anyway, Safe Food, something maybe seems to be cooking over there. I don't know, but man, imagine the dilution when they actually use that shelf on a $10 million market cap. So I'm not interested in it really, but I just have it on my watch list in case anyone is. So guys, listen, I would say this morning, right now, it looks like risk is on. It looks like we're breaking key resistance levels over the 20 and 50 DMA. I know that this will bring in a lot of traders, technical traders, swing traders, excited about these technical breaks. But I mean, this has been very hard to trade the last 6 months. You've had other times where you had technical breaks and it ended up being tops, right? Now this 50 DMA, it ran for another week after it broke the 50 DMA and it ended up being a top. So I would say be very, very careful. It is possible the bottom's in, but you know, what can we do here? I would say avoid options, avoid call options, avoid margin. Your riskiest assets, if you're up on them, you're making good money, maybe shave them off, you know, as we get these bounces. And maybe consider selling some covered calls if you think, you know, we could be near a top. But so these are some different strategies to employ. It's definitely doesn't feel safe yet because of the recent history, right? Does not feel safe in terms of the recent history of chop. So to say, hey, green light, bull market's back on, definitely seems premature. We won't know that the bottom's in until many months after the fact, right? So it's hard to know ahead of time. We just got to be careful. So in the meantime, I think seems like it's going to be a good day. So hopefully enjoy some gains. Hopefully, you know, a stock like GOEV will do well in a day like this. By the way, what's happening with AGRX? I want to quickly look at that because I still have some of this actually, and that's down sadly. All right, this is the Roe v. Wade play. So anyway. All right, guys, good luck. We'll see you tonight, 9 p.m. with Chris Harbor on CLFD ahead of those earnings. Have a great day, everyone.